All right, so we're going to talk about transaction histories of your bank accounts and having to show transactions clearing either in or out before the monthly statement's available. Now, this is important because although it seems redundant, we do have to show your deposits to your closing agent to escrow and your due diligence fees to escrow actually clearing your account. So whether you pay with a check, cashier's check, wire transfer, however, method, even though we may have a receipt of that from the closing agent, even though we may have a copy of your clear check or wire receipt, the lender still needs to see that the funds actually cleared your account. It's a little dumb, it's a little redundant, but it has to be done. And if as long as you understand how to do it, it's really easy to get this cleared and to obtain the information you need. Now, it's important to get this because a lot of times your deposits are clearing your account before the monthly statement's available, and your transaction may be closing before that entire month statement's available. So we have to show your banking transactions between your last full statement and present day, whenever that day is, which is usually at least after those transactions have actually cleared. So for most loan products, you do already need 2 full months or 60 days worth of statements. So what I'm showing you here is this is an actual statement. I redacted all personal information. Hopefully I got everything, account numbers, names, even some details on the transfers. So it looks pretty generic. But if you can see here, now assuming we already have the August statement, this person's bank statement was from August 21st through September 20th, right? But now today is October 9th. We're closing in a couple of days, but we did need to source a deposit to the closing agent that occurred after 9/20, right? So here's the full statement. What I want to point out is the ending balance, because we're going to match it up in a little bit. And just confirming the dates, starts on August 21st and goes all the way down to September 20th. Now, one thing to point out, and this should be clear already, is see this says page 2 of 3. No matter what your bank statements show, we do need to see all 3 pages. In this case, there is actual account information on page 3, but a lot of statements will have a blank page. It'll still be numbered, but it'll say this page was intentionally left blank. We need that page. Okay, so here's the statement. Let's see, anything else to point out here? Nothing else to point out here other than, and I'll bring this up in a different video, you see these transfers. I'll make that a different, I can't make a different color. These transfers from, do that transfer in, it's a pretty big transfer, pretty big amount, transfer. We have to source all of those, and that will be a different video, but keep in mind anything that shows up from other accounts, regardless of whose accounts they are, even if they're your own, we have to show where they come from. These are strict guidelines of sourcing funds. Now, okay, so the deposit was sent to the closing agent after September 20th. So what this client had to do was in their bank, and pretty much every bank does this, is they are able to print out a transaction history with a date range. So you can see here, it's the same bank, the date that it was pulled. And this one is actually good. It shows the last statement balance and the ending date, so you can kind of match it up, make sure it's the same. They do need to see that's the same account. And they actually pulled more dates than needed, but I prefer that, so you can see an overlap, so they can easily match up the accounts in case there's any questions about that. But you can see this one ended September 20th. The last one was a Amex payment of $4,100, and you can see here, oh my gosh, there it is, Amex $4,100, and this is where the statement cuts off, 9/20, so and above. So everything before that would be on that other statement. Now, what we needed to show was after 9/20, there's this check here for $10,000. There's a check number. And of course, because it's a check, I need to get a copy of that check as well, front and back after it cleared. But this is the transaction we needed. And we would have had to wait until October 20th to get the actual statement. which would not work. So we had to go and have the client print out their transactions, at least from the 20th. They were a little an overachiever and went further back, which is fine. But from 9/20, and they did until well, the 7th. We technically only needed until the 24th, at least that when that cleared, but they did a little bit more. Now keep in mind, because they did a little bit more, we're showing now this huge $17,000 transfer in, this $5,000 transfer in. So we're going to have to source those from their other accounts and wherever those funds came from, which is a little bit extra work. But if they had just cut this off here, we wouldn't have had to do that. So hopefully this clears things up. This is a generic video, so this will apply to any transaction where you have to source funds either in, which is maybe a transfer from your account, or out to a closing agent when the statements are not available yet.